Well, maybe we'll get fireworks again. Oh dear. But, the last video cut off because I needed to do some maintenance on the memory card in my phone. So hopefully I took care of that. I hope I did. Jeez. But did a bunch of watering. Then I hung out on the phone with a friend for a while, which was nice. Look how dry those are. Everything's so dry. Whew. It's really just such a drought at this point. It's definitely falling within the category of drought for an area that typically floods this time of year. Whew. Like the things that are even rooted through the pots and nestled in the ground to conserve water are still drying out to the point where they're starting to die if I don't water them. The lilies don't mind, though. Still getting new lilies blooming every day. But, yeah, I got a bunch of plants down in there still. We looked down over the hill yesterday, I think. I think I showed you what I planted into the ground. And I watered it again today. Pretty sure I turned off the water too. We'll check that on our way by. Clematis. These smell so good. This is common milkweed. I keep hoping that I'll see a monarch caterpillar peeking at it every day, hoping for it. But mainly I'm just seeing these guys, which are milkweed beetles. They're also native. They're cool. But I'm much more worried about the monarchs. I've had them every year that I had this plant in until now, so. Oh, here comes another one. Those milkweed beetles. And these guys are technically endangered too. The rusty patch bumblebee. So named for the little patch on his back. Our friend, you're so fuzzy. They're very sweet. They're just the most docile little things. And I've got a fly over here. That's weird. And these guys. They're so sweet. I love the bumblebees. They're so cute. Let's get our focal distance sorted out. And, yeah, so I kind of stalled on the bicycle. I stalled because the tools that I have currently are rounding off the spoke nipples, which are these things at the top. If you haven't been following along on my bicycle videos, I don't blame you. It's okay if you just like that or you just like the garden. You don't have to like both. You can subscribe either way. But yes, so they're starting to round off because I don't have the correct tool, so I need to get a spoke key. Spoke key. That's hard to say without just making it all one word. In order to avoid rounding them off further, and that is slowing me down from truing the wheel. So I would say tomorrow is definitely me walking to the bank. Alas, don't really want to walk to the bank, but I need to get there. So guess that's how that's gonna go. It's about a half an hour walk. Alternately, I could ride my broken foot power bicycle down and then just walk it back up, because gravity will take me down. I don't know, I'll think about it. Those will be nice to have in late September, early October. These ones stay good until late November on the tree, too. There's 2 more right up there. There's a decent number of apples in this tree this year. Not as many as I thought there would be based on the flowers, but it's okay. Tomatoes are still doing good in here. That one's fighting with all the weeds, but you know, it happens. And then we got all of these. This is wild monarda, wild bergamot in bloom. There's a younger one. It's in the mint family, but it has a very distinctive smell. But the smell is bee balm. It's a relative of bee balm, if you've had that before. I've been eating the spent flowers off of this and these little swirly topped things. They're good in stir fry. Got a second color happening here, it turns out. It was kind of stuck half open. And then this will be a hollyhock too. That's what those are. Hollyhock. And then beyond there, there's some hardy gladiolus. We got a honeybee from the neighbor's apiary, and we got a native. If you feed them enough food, they're fine. Then they don't have to compete for resources. Native bees have longer, I'm just going to call them tongues. I think there's a scientific term. So they like the long fluted narrow flowers. But the honeybees can't get at it for these flowers. In a big way, that's really good, because if you plant a variety of flowers, ones that can handle the native bees and ones that can handle the honeybees, then the native bees won't get out-competed for resources, which has been partly contributing to the reduced numbers and the endangered status. It's a really pretty sunset. It's pretty over here, too. This is catnip. I watered down in here. I watered here, and I left it run a little extra long in this area because it looked like a little vole had dug in. And there are, might be going after the mycelium for the winecap mushrooms that I put in here. So I've pushed that back down in, hopefully collapsing it and filled it up with water and stuff. I noticed here, and this is where I put most of the winecap, that there's, white fuzz all over the wood chips here, and that is a really good sign. But it probably also means that I need to add more woody material on top of it to keep it protected. Probably. I think that's how that works. So I planted here for the mushrooms, the winecaps, here. I also, we'll turn this way, did 3 spots in here. Although the last one that's right next to the cherry tree, there were a bunch of ants, and I hear that ants can eat the stuff, so I don't know how well those did. Put some under here, some over there, and some up along the elderberry at the front. Figuring that, strength in numbers, if any of these places dries out too much, that it won't take, or if something digs it up and eats it, or if the ants get to it, because I didn't know about ants at the time that I planted it, that I would still be able to... Is that bee stuck? Are you alive? Yeah, you're alive. Okay. I was worried. Well, I guess it was just asleep. So it gives me really good odds as far as one of those patches coming up. Still haven't created any transplants out of the heads of these walking onions. A lot of people call them Egyptian onions. I think walking onions is a bit more polite. But mainly that's because I need more soil. I need to either make more soil. Oh, look, there's a forage coming up here. The bees usually love these too. They're also usually a lot bigger than that, so that's surprisingly small. And then if you weren't familiar, this is rue. Rutagraviolens. It's an herb, but if you're growing it and don't already know, because I don't think this is public enough knowledge, it will end a pregnancy, so if that's something you want to have going on with yourself, then this is a plant you'll want to avoid. It is a good herb, though, and it's used with that precaution in many places. Bitter herb. Not very common in the U.S. People don't like their bitters as well here. Chickweed. That's an invasive too, but it's edible. Everything has been so dry. This is a angry parent robin who has been chasing around a fledgling, squawking a lot. Looks like the neighbor's kids dropped a cracker. Yeah. It's been so dry. I just can't get over how we're usually flooding this time of year. I'm usually trying to undrown plants this time of year. But instead, I'm having to go around and water every day. Like, I could not have foreseen this. Were you a rabbit? What were you? I also have an angry chipmunk. But the creatures like the downspout that's back in there. There's always some sort of creature in there. They're using it as a highway. Alas. So I think I've mainly been keeping up with the watering well enough, but haven't really been getting much in the way of the fruit that should be coming ripe this time of year. Like the raspberries are all dried out by the time they're ripe a lot of times, and haven't hardly gotten any strawberries either, although part of that might be because of the groundhogs tend to love the strawberries. So, since the groundhogs popped up out the ground about the time that the strawberries were starting, that might be. I got one. Yeah, the herbivore pressure here can be pretty intense in this area. For example, I do not use this path enough for it to be as bald and devoid of life as it is. I do not. You know who does? The deer. And the groundhogs. Some rabbits. And they go down, like, I occasionally trim that corridor in here, but not enough that it should be that well cleared. It's crazy. It's crazy how many creatures there are. Here's some more milkweed back here. I don't see caterpillars. I just see milkweed beetles. Bummer. A native grape. Native hazelnut with some nibbling on it. What I think is probably, or at least potentially, a native wolfberry. Look at that. It's such a long tendril. It's coming from the other side of that cage. Maypop. I just got some purple flowering raspberry, also known as thimbleberry, and they are doing well, except for the one that I watered too much. They don't like water, it turns out. I think there's someone kayaking or canoeing down there. That's nice. And then, gotta go harvest some more daylily spent flowers. They're also nice to have. I put them out to dry, too. Be prepared, this might be choppy. I'm about to hop up here. Okay, I should have it stabilized now. This is more of that awful tree of heaven. Sprouting up out of the stump. And a bunch of Rosa Sharon, which is an absolutely horrible plant to have alongside a garden. But then I've got the bunch of them. Something really likes the hazelnut. I also need to come up and water some of the hazelnut that are in that newer section of the hedge line up there, because they don't get as much water naturally. Really never would have guessed that we'd be so dry right now. I'm so worried about this section here with the hole, and then I stepped and that sank, so that means it goes underneath. Look at that, that's pretty. Yeah. Black locust. I would like to make an argument based on black locust being down there only, and this being sprouted out of a full-sized root that I cut when digging. I would like to make an argument that this dripline stuff is not based on reality. The idea that a tree's roots stop where its leaves stop, I think is pure insanity. That is my opinion. I think their roots go a really long way once they're established. I'm trying to figure out what this is. It has a Juggulans family scent to it. Gentler than the black walnut, not as pungent as the black walnut leaves smell, which are these guys over here. It did get eaten back, so these are relatively new leaves. When it was first coming into leaf, the groundhog came and ate everything off of it. But I'm wondering if this might be some sort of hickory, like a young hickory of some sort. We've got 5. This one's got 7. It's 5 to 7 leaves. They're real soft and velvety. A little bit of jagged on the edge. And that one's also got 7. So I guess the more mature ones probably have 7. And the younger ones have 5. And that reddish tinge. But I'm not going to let it get full height, though, because I like having my view. So it'll be coppiced, which you can see coppiced or pollarded. I've also started trimming back a lot of these sumacs, and I also need to get to that tree of heaven, because I actually can get to that one, unlike this one, or a couple of them down here that I can barely reach. I'm starting to do seeds too. But look at those big bundles of seeds on the tree of heaven. That's horrible. Such a nasty plant. The trees that I transplanted down here seem happy with it. They get sheltered from the blazing afternoon sun because the sunset is over there. So this whole hillside is in afternoon shade, but the sun rises right about there. Maybe here. I'm not 100% on that. But the sun rises, and so it gets full morning shade. It gets about a half day down here. And here's some more sumacs that I planted. Basically, I just want to keep everything here pretty short, growing, lively, except for the most invasive of the trees as possible, but short and bushy, so that I'll be able to see out over. There's another of the black locust right here. So there's two there, one here. But that's the nearest locust tree, and there were full-size roots right here. So, and again up here there were more coming out just above there. So that's an argument I think that may disprove the concept of dripline. If you're not familiar, it's a theory that where the leaves go to is also where the roots go to on a tree, and that trees all have like a bowl-shaped bit of root underneath. I think a lot of them have long runners, and then if provoked, they become suckers. For example, this stumpy thing right here is one of these. These aren't the same plant. These are all tree of heaven. So where is that root coming from? Good luck figuring that out, huh? I don't know the answer. Tree of heaven, tree of heaven, tree of heaven, sumac. Sumacs are native, so they're good guys. The rest are bad guys. Tree of heaven, sumac. They look like little palm trees. The way that they're growing down here. So yeah, everything's really dry. I've got a lot of like mystery plants. Such a soft leaf. My bicycle project's on hold. The mushrooms are still alive, it seems, so that's good. Yeah, see, this is that's a black walnut. And this is a sumac. So, hopefully I'll be able to get rain barrels installed. That would be really good. But even then, it's gonna be a minute before they get filled, I guess. Even if I got them tomorrow, which it's not gonna be that fast. It sure ain't raining. Look at that. Look at that. That is cool. Yay, pretty sunset. Don't mind the highway noise. Yep. Hope you're having a good early July. And that things are going well for you. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and I hope you liked this very long tour. Alright, take care. Bye.